I think the movie that we're making here is much more psychological, much more character-driven. I mean, obviously, we have a lot of scary scenes and stunts and things with, Leatherface chasing us and stuff, but I think you really care about these characters. I think you don't want them to be hurt or die. Is about kids on a road trip who stop in a town because they need some help, and it turns out that this whole town is against them, and they are being chased by a psychopathic maniac with a chainsaw. I kind of think of her as just one of those girls that guys get along with really well, and she probably doesn't have a whole lot of girlfriends, probably grew up with guys, just really, really calm and chill and loves to hang out, and she's just one of those kind of tomboy, kickback kind of a person. This person is a massive, huge man with a chainsaw who has a mask, who's always wears a mask made of human skin, like sewed up, gross, disgusting hair, like someone else's hair. He has an apron covered in skin, made of skin. His whole home has lamps made of bones and skin and human things. So he's really terrifying if he's coming after you, because he's wearing other people's faces, basically. We've just bonded as really quickly, and we are like old friends. And that's not very, I don't think that happens so often. It just doesn't. But we're all kind of around the same age. We kind of range, we're like 20 to 26, like somewhere around there. So we're all in the same kind of headspace, which is really cool. And no one takes himself too seriously. Marcus is incredibly passionate about everything, which really makes my job easy, because he cares so much about what my opinion is. If this line isn't working for me, if I feel like this looks unrealistic, I wouldn't go here. Any of the thing that's happening in a scene, whether it be dialogue, whether it be the action of the scene, he's so interested, and he just cares about what we think. And I really, really, I treasure that. I think you're going to be grossed out, terrified, really disturbed, and I think you're going to want to see it again. I think so. There's a lot more to it than just running around killing people. There really is. And we're putting a lot more into it, and I think you might need to see it a couple times to catch it all.
Kemper is the leader of the group. He's sort of the Papa Bear of the group. He sort of takes charge, and his relationship to Jesse's character is what sort of what we hope motivates people to really care about these characters, because him and Jesse are really in love, and Kemper's character is trying to make a life for them. It's a negative emotion in the sense that it scares you, but in the other sense, it brings you face to face with your fears. It's like anything that you do that scares you, like skydiving. Jumping out of a plane is terrifying, but we do it to conquer those fears. And in the film, it allows you, through the characters, to conquer evil and to fight, good versus bad, and to conquer these forces. And I think that's a big part of what people are drawn to. I think this one has the potential to be scary in the sense that it's less macabre in its horror. It's really fun to work with him because you never are bored. You never actually take a breath or eat or stop either, but that's fine. But he truly is a genius. So it's fun. Everyone's been so cool. It's totally professional. And we've all really sort of banded together to make this movie great, and everyone's there for each other. You know, everyone's like, what, you know, should I do this here? Do I need to do that there? What do you think? You know, everyone's just looking out for each other's backs. So it's really cool. I think you walk out of this film with a little, maybe a heightened sense of awareness about where you are and where you're going. It'll make you think twice about stopping for gas in some strange little town.
A bunch of kids on a little, you know, their little freeing road trip that everyone takes, I guess, at one point in their life to Mexico. And we're coming back through Mexico to go to a Skinner concert, get stuck in Texas, and run into a family of weirdos who just start chopping us to ribbons. Andy he's the guy that just says means well, but says the wrong thing all the time. You know, he's the one, I always describe, he's the one that goes into the funeral and goes, oh man, who died? To me, from an acting standpoint, it really allows you to let go more, because it's not just all the screaming. You know, it's really taking a different approach in how do I play this so that it's true to life, real, and people would look at this and be like, oh my word, like, so that would really affect them mentally and draw them in. So I'm having a blast with that, because it's not typical and it's not every day. Somewhere deep within each and every one of us, there's that want to experience something without having to really experience it. That's, you know, why do people like watching things on murders and things on this? Because somewhere inside you there is that little bit somewhere that says, you know, that outwardly would say, that's so bad or so disgusting or so scary, I could never do that, go through that, or whatever. But you can watch it, because for that hour and a half, 2 hours, as an audience, you and as a person, you're allowing yourself to go there and experience something like that. So it gives you the mental experience of it, but keeping your body in one piece. I really think it has the potential to be very, very scary on a lot of levels, and with, you know, there is some gore, there is some of that, but it's not the main focus of the movie.
And this guy is just bad to the bone. He's got a filthy mouth. He's arrogant. He was a sheriff for many, many years, and I think actually the town doesn't need a sheriff anymore, but he stayed on as the sheriff anyway, on his own nickel. And he kind of likes to treat young people bad, or I guess pretty much anybody pretty bad. Well, it's about 4 young, hard-charging teenagers that are heading out to a rock concert, and they have to go through my county to get there. They've been down to Mexico and picked up some couple of leaves of marijuana, I guess, and they're heading through my county, and that's a big mistake, bring drugs into the sheriff's county. Leatherface is a deformed, psychologically pathetic individual that has been ridiculed as a child and grew up hating people, and took to, I guess his weapon of choice is the chainsaw, which is a hell of a weapon. If you hear one of those things crank up, he pulls that cord and it cranks up. Just listening to the chainsaw is terrifying. People, I don't know what it is, but they do love to be frightened, don't they? I mean, when they're sitting there in the safety of their theater seat, and they know that on the screen can't really get them, it's just an escape, I would imagine. And who doesn't like a good scare? It's fun. It gets the adrenaline pumping. These kids are talented. they're aggressive, and they're fun to work with. They're really neat kids.
It seems this was a great opportunity to show what you can do with maybe a little bit of money, but a lot of inventiveness, you know. So a lot of people threw their ideas in and their few cents and made it, to me, more palatable, more of a creative petri dish than what some of these big budget monsters were. On a movie like this, I look forward to see people jumping out of their seats right in front of me, and there's a certain joy in that. I like to keep things lively, you know. I think especially something like this, you know, things have to be on the edge. I think if it becomes too jovial, if it becomes sort of like a little bit of a Club Med, it right away translates on the screen in a maybe unwanted way. It's a great cathartic experience to just sort of like bust loose and, you know, do something I've never really done before in that style. It sets out to be a really scary experience, and in that, I think it'll be refreshing, because I don't think there have been really scary movies out in a long time. They have been disguised with a lot of fluff and romance and hipness and comedy and trendiness, and this tries to go back to scary movies in the vein of Silence of the Lambs and Alien. I was really intrigued by working with a fellow director as a producer, Michael Bay, who comes from a very similar background like I do, commercials and videos, and he got us through. He went through a process of combining the best of both worlds. They call movies marathons, and they call commercials and music videos sprints. And he mixed sprinters and marathoners, which is something I always wanted to do and not always was allowed to do, dealing with many other studios. So I felt very much understood, and I felt it was a good marriage, and I'm very happy, you know, that this came together in this particular configuration. By the time this movie is done, however the movie will be perceived, I think this cast will be one of the seminal casts that you know, Hollywood agents and studios will refer back to for years to come.
One of my favorite movies is Silence of the Lambs, which is a real psychological horror to me. Some people call it a thriller. I guess it could be classified as both. But when we started the company, we all talked about making movies like this and going back to the old way, when you can scare the hell out of people without making a joke after you kill somebody.
And what we tried to do was find a number of young actors who maybe were not, who hadn't done this kind of thing before, and who could make this feel real. And when you look on screen, those are friends that you know or people that you know.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to build characters. His vision for this film took it to the next level. We had a screenplay that we all believed in, but when we sat down with Marcus as a director, he brought it to life right at the table in front of us, and no one else had done that. And when we heard what he had to say, after seeing what he had done over the last 12 years of directing and what he had to say, there was no question that he was the director for the movie.
People are going to be terrified, and they're going to jump out of their seats, because there are going to be scares that they've never seen before. People are going to be so devastated by what has happened to these people that they care about up on screen. It'll be something that'll be hard to watch. There'll be parts of it that are hard to watch. There'll be parts in the movie where people's hearts are coming out of their bodies because their hearts are pounding so fast because Leatherface is chasing him, and they're seeing this incredible chase. Every single aspect of this film, from the development of the script, Michael was there. He was incredible in terms of developing the characters, and he would read the script and he could find the problems very quickly. He made it easy for us to develop the script because he would read it and say, this is what you need, this is what you got to do, go do that and get it done. And if we didn't come up to his standards, he'd say, go back and do it. And when it was right, he said, this is right, okay, let's go to the next step.
Michael understands what people really want to see.